is Deon Gordon, President and CEO of Tech Birmingham, whose mission is to strengthen and advocate for the technology ecosystem by promoting tech companies in the Birmingham region, helping to recruit and retain tech talent, and providing the current and future workforce with technical education and professional development opportunities. Please give it up right now for Deon Gordon.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? We can do a little bit better. How are you doing? There we go. This is a very special occasion, and the reason why, hi, Cynthia Crutchfield of Innovate Alabama, one of our incredible sponsors. But I will say this is a wonderful opportunity because of the significance of today. We're talking about how disruption can transform societies and lead to social innovation, and using the civil rights movement as a model for that. Well, why is it significant today? It's significant because we are 60 years removed from one day from the anniversary of Bloody Sunday, the march from Selma to Montgomery, and we're all familiar about the significance of that event. But 70 years ago, we are almost removed 70 years from the day of another significant event, which was the arrest of Claudette Colvin. And she was the originator who refused to give up her seat on a Montgomery bus. That event eventually led to Rosa Parks following that template, and the civil rights movement starting from that when she was arrested December 1st, 1955. Now, as we think about how that presents a model for us, I look at a few things. One, to make sure that we have a shared language and an understanding about what innovation and disruption is. And this is not my definition, but I love the term that frames it as the practical application of creativity to transfer or create value. And then for disruption, something that is so transformative that it shifts the entire behavior of societies. And so when we think about the civil rights movement, 5 things really come to mind, 5 key concepts. And it's really around identifying issues, smaller issues that are used to highlight a larger problem. It's really about finding the key value, identifying value that might be hidden on the surface that could lead to us shifting entire economic models. It's really about using existing infrastructure to introduce alternative models and doing all of those things in perpetuity. So what does that look like from the civil rights movement in terms of Montgomery and in Birmingham? It looks like them recognizing that transportation was just a smaller issue about full civil rights. It looks like them recognizing that black riders made up 75% of the rider share of those buses, which gave them economic power. 3, it used existing infrastructure to take that economic power and transfer it into their hands. Think about the protests and the shopping bans. Imagine if we had other models and other distribution routes and other stores that we can shift people to. But it was also about making sure that they did those things in perpetuity, because that effort, the bus boycotts, lasted for 400 days just about. Right, and so I look at that as a model about how innovation can really change entire societies and entire worlds. I look at Birmingham and how they use the innovative strategy to include kids during the Children's Crusade to change the entire trajectory of the civil rights movement that was faltering up until that point. And we're all familiar in a lot of ways with those stories, but we don't make the connection to how that led to substantive policy wins, how the events in Birmingham directly led to the Civil Rights Act of '64, how the events in Selma and Montgomery directly led to the Voting Rights Act of '65. We don't talk about it because we're more familiar with the tragedy as opposed to the triumph. Now, this is an opportunity for us as we think about all of the erosions that we are seeing against civil liberties, against body autonomy, against all of these things, economic and educational access. I find it fascinating that in a lot of ways we can draw inspiration to go forward by looking back. And these are all policies that startups are using. I mean, think about how transformative technology is that gets us to dispense with wisdom that parents have passed down when they say never, ever get into a car with a stranger. And we pay to do it now. Or Airbnb, right? Staying with a stranger. But it was such a transformative shift that it gave us an ability to transfer value once they recognized what the true value was. And it wasn't in hotels, it was just in being able to stay safely somewhere. It was in lodging. And when they recognized that, they used existing infrastructure to shift that value into new market opportunities. And so again, I think that is a lesson for us to draw upon. And we don't have to imagine too much a future where we're taking data, where we're using AI to come up with more accessible and fair economic models, where we can disrupt the criminal justice system by showing how many people are still in jail just simply because they cannot pay for $500 to get out on bail. We don't have to imagine that because there are organizations doing things like that now, such as Measures for Justice, right? And the Checker Foundation that are fighting for the second chance workforce. And so as we think about what it takes to move forward, I find it fascinating but also inspiring that we can go back to cities like Birmingham, Montgomery, Selma, and states like Alabama and across the South to draw inspiration and to do, as former Congressman and the late Congressman John Lewis would say, create good and necessary trouble. Thank you.